Months after the historic flooding in Roswell, the agriculture industry there is still suffering the effects of those floods. News 13's Marilyn Upchurch has more about how farmers and ranchers there are struggling to return to normal.
So when you're an ag producer and you've got all this sediment that's dumped onto the field, you now have really eliminated the ability to farm that land in some instances.
In October, the city of Roswell saw record-breaking rain and deadly flooding, leaving the community in shock. Meanwhile, farmers and ranchers living outside the city limits also saw damage from that day.
There was a lot of sediment that was covering fields. A lot of the ditches got filled in with sediment. A lot of the ag infrastructure, irrigation systems and whatnot got impacted.
Kenneth Branch with the USDA says they've been working since October to assess damage to farms so they can request funds from the federal government through their emergency watershed protection and emergency conservation programs, which are aimed at helping farmers and ranchers affected by the flooding rebuild and clean up their land.
Through the ECP program, this is where fences can be rebuilt, ag infrastructure, irrigation systems and whatnot we can help with rebuilding or fixing some of that ag infrastructure that's out there, cleaning sediment off of fields and whatnot.
Branch says crop fields like alfalfa were especially impacted, along with orchards and grazing lands. He says hundreds of producers were affected, and the damages to the ag industry could be in the millions.
When you have these fields that have been impacted, it really limits the amount of supply that's out there. It's kind of supply and demand things.
Branch says despite these difficulties, the ag community in the area is staying strong.
They're out there ready to work and ready to recover from the disaster.
Marilyn Upchurch, KRQE, News 13.
The USDA hopes to get assistance to landowners by spring so they can start recovering and be running by the fall. If you need help, they recommend you contact the Roswell Farm Service Agency.